Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Living for a Living with your boy, Joey Bradley. Episode number 35. The live episode.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
Oh, man. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to switch something up. Try something new. I've been feeling weird these last couple weeks. I'm not going to lie. I talked about it last week, but it was in a major funk for those first couple weeks of lockdown. Kind of just like anytime there's just hella uncertainty, it's tough, and I've grown to kind of be accustomed to the uncertainty kind of lifestyle with what I'm doing and not really knowing where I'm going to be in 6 months or a year from now. I kind of have my life planned out at like 6 month segments. But even though I'm used to that, it still fucks with me sometimes. So yeah, man, I was struggling there for a little bit, but we're out of it. Life is all about cycles. All about cycles, I mean, that's like super stereotypical, but something I was thinking about with the life is like cycles thing or circles or whatever is like there's two different ways for you to go in circles. And because no matter what, you're going to repeat shit in life, whether it's mistakes, obviously you want to learn from your mistakes, all of that stuff. But like, no matter what you're doing, for the most part, you're going to go in circles. But like I said, there's two ways to go in circles. You can either go in a circle, almost like a spiral. So you're just circling. And so maybe you started here, but now you're only here. And so it doesn't feel like you've made like much progress or nothing, or even some people are just literally circling. And so they started here and then it feels like they got there. But you can also go in circles like this. You can go in cycles here. You're still having your ups and your downs. You feel me? But we started here, and now we're over here. We made some progress. So, I don't know. That was just something that came up in my mind this week that I feel like, shit, it's helped me in how I'm thinking about things. And then I even like further went with that little idea. This is like a tornado almost. This one is like no control, unpredictable. You don't really know. Can't really do nothing about it. Not productive, unhelpful. But this is like the ocean. This is like some waves. And waves can be destructive, no doubt. But you can also ride a wave. You can do something with the wave. You can generate some power. You can do all kinds of things with some waves if you know how to ride it right. And so that's just my little thing, I know we're all going in circles right now. It's a fucking weird time of life with COVID, lockdowns, no new normal. People are fucking crazy. I'm going to talk about that for sure. But I don't know. This helped me this week. When you're going in circles, make sure we're not spiraling. We're waving. You dig? But yeah, let's now that I came off the top of the dome with that one, I was thinking to myself, I was on this podcast like 2 days ago. My buddy Chris from New Haven had a bunch of communications class with him. And he asked me, he's actually working in Spokane now, my home state, Washington. And so he asked me to be on their kind of radio podcast show. We did it via Zoom. I think that's coming out tomorrow, so kind of stay on the lookout for that. But on the interview or pod or whatever, they asked me kind of, what's the deal with living for a living? What is it? And I've realized, like I don't communicate exactly what I'm doing with this podcast, vlog, whatever brand thing that I'm doing very well. And I think that's restricting me at times. You need to have like kind of a definitive, reason, a definitive game plan. And so it kind of started making me think, you know, like, why should people watch this? Why should they tune in? You know, because I realized, and you can listen to it on the interview, is the way I explained it, I know if someone was just randomly listening, they wouldn't want to watch me. And so I was like, damn, I gotta sell myself a little bit, you know, because I'm doing this shit for me, but let's keep it real. I want this to grow, you know, like if I can talk into this mic and camera for my living costs eventually, why not? You know, like, so I kind of started thinking like, you know, why watch me? Why watch Living for a Living? Why tune into this shit? You know, like why? And, you know, I think I'm a little bit biased, obviously, because I'm talking about myself, but I don't think there's anything really like comparable on the internet right now. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not exactly sure. But, you know, I don't know too many people who are doing what I'm doing, you know, and maybe you can take that as arrogance. I don't mean it arrogantly at all. But just the fact that living abroad, playing American football, doing the podcast vlog, creative stuff, you know, the backstory of, you know, while I was in the U.S., I've lived in Washington, California, North Dakota, Illinois, Connecticut, Florida. Over here in Europe now, I've lived in Portugal, Spain, Czech Republic, Poland, Finland. Traveled a little bit throughout there. And so I think that provides me with a somewhat unique perspective on life, on the world, on travels, on society, on whatever. And so I think I can offer, you know, a unique perspective and also a truthful perspective. You know, I don't have a brand backing me. I don't have anybody above me telling me what to do. I'm literally my own producer. I'm my own whatever. So I can't get canceled. I can't get fired. None of that shit. So I'm going to say whatever the fuck I'm thinking. And that is becoming rare these days. It's completely becoming rare. And so I don't know. I think that we need more of it, you know? And so whether it's me you're tuning into and checking it out, or it inspires another person, or you watch someone else who keeps it fucking real, like, I think that's what we need more of right now. Because, man, you guys know, shit is wild right now. And so, you know, and in those times of living in all the places I've lived, I mean, bro, I've lived with every kind of walk of life you could imagine. Anywhere from like a 20-year-old French girl who doesn't really speak English to a 43-year-old black dude and his 30-year-old Puerto Rican girlfriend who every other day it was like an episode of Jerry Springer in the crib. You know, and literally everything in between. Live with people of all ethnicities, all religions, all flat earthers. I've lived with it all, man. I've heard with, I mean, obviously not everybody, but I'm super grateful for that because it's provided this kind of framework for me of how I think and how I view things, and I've been exposed to a bunch of different perspectives, and some I don't agree with, but all of that is how I'm doing this right now, you know? And then the last thing is, you know, I'm not in America. I'm not in the States. I'm out of that like US bubble, but also I'm obviously connected to it and like experienced with it. And so like for the people that are American that are watching me, you know, like I think I can provide like a brainwashed, unprogrammed perspective. And I'm not saying everybody who lives in the States is programmed, but it's just much easier to become caught up in all of those issues due to the media always constantly being on. You know, like you go out to a bar, well, you can't go out to a bar right now, but in the past, And now you're at home all the time, but like the TV is always on and always is unavoidable. And so I have a TV right now here. It hasn't been plugged in the entire time I live here. I use it for hanging my clothes. And so that little perspective, and this is a funny one, but like I've never really had a real job since I've graduated, last 5 years. And so, man, I've had a lot of fucking free time, which I'm grateful for, but that's like allowed me to do a lot of learning and a lot of reading and a lot of kind of research on my own. And I'll admit I'm a little bit alternative or conspiracy-y at times, but I think that's good. I think we got to question things. And so, I wanted to start this episode and just kind of explain like why should you, I know I got like 20, 25, 30 like super strong fans out there, and I appreciate y'all big time. And so, whether it's a new person checking in, I'm probably going to clip this one up for the gram too, not going to lie. But this is a way to also, maybe you can tell your friends about it. You feel me? You feel me though? So yeah, that's why I wanted to do that. And let's see, we're going to get into a call we had. Instagram, you can't hear me? I got my mic connected to this, so I can't connect it to my phone, Nick. But you can't hear me at all? Oh, you're fucking with... Oh. Valid. Very valid, bro. You're good with that one, Nick. But I'm Nick, I'm thankful that I fucked up like that, because if I wouldn't have fucked up like that, this beautiful camera that I'm looking in right now would never be in my possessions. Man, I fucking love that, bro, Nick. I think about you a lot for multiple reasons, but that one specifically. But all right, I'm gonna keep rocking with it right now. You got me though. Actually, let me tell a story, right? Let's tell that story, huh, Nick? So we just got a comment in the Instagram live from my boy Nick Crossan. He was on episode number 3, the second interview I did. And this was in the very, very beginning. For the podcast, I had these 2 mics, and I had my point and shoot Canon G7X Mark II, which is just a small little camera. It can only record in 17-minute segments at a time, just because of the memory or whatever. And so like literally like the first 4 podcasts I did, they'd be over 17 minutes, obviously. But and I'm doing this with a guest. I'd let them finish a question, or I might ask a question. And then before they answer, I say, oh, hold on. I go and press the camera, stop record, start record, and do it again. And then I'd have to just like put everything together. And so I say all that. Well, and so when I was doing it with Nick, I fucked up, and I was so worried about the camera that I forgot to hit record on the mics. And so for like our first 45 minutes, we're literally holding mics up and just for props, because they weren't actually recording. And so Nick just commented in the Instagram chat, "Turn your mic on, baby." But ultimately, sorry, this story is getting even longer. But afterwards, I was embarrassed. I was mad. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Nick was taking time out of his day to come chop it up with me, and that was an awesome conversation. And he goes, "Yo, man," he goes, because I told him, I said, "I'm gonna buy just like a normal video camera just to record stuff on, so I don't have to do the start and stop thing." And he goes, "I have a camera sitting in my office that got through basketball. Nick coaches high school basketball, also has his own what would I call that facility, EBC, and so he's like, I got this camera sitting in my office. I know nothing about it. I don't know if it's nice. I don't know if it's good, but if you want it, bro, it's yours." And I'm all right. I'm not gonna deny it. I go out there, pick it up from Nick, say what's up, go home. I mean, and it's a nice camera. And I go home and I like Google it. I throw it on eBay, Amazon, and it comes back. And it's like selling used on Amazon for like $900, $1,000. And I messaged Nick. I was like, bro, I can't take this. Like, Nick has a couple kids. Nick's, family man. I was like, bro, you need this. I don't, I appreciate it, but you take it. He's like, bro, that camera's been sitting in my office for a year. If I wanted to sell it, I should have sold it already. You need it. It's yours. And so like, I say this whole story to just like explain that, you just got to get started with something. I literally started the podcast, like I said, with a point and shoot camera, which is embarrassing when you really think about it, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's just starting. And then once you start and put yourself out there and put it into place, like the second interview I do, I end up getting $1,000 camera from it. Like that was the universe. Like after I did that, Nick, bro, the universe, it was like, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing or something. That was like a huge reinforcer for me. So thank you to my guy, Nick, even though he's fucking with me in the chat right now. But I had to tell that story. And yeah, but let's get back to this question. So here's a question.
Yo, who's the dumbest player that you've ever played with or against?
Man, like I said, I'm not going to name any names. Whoever listens to this and was on the team is for sure going to know who I'm talking about. But I think of two people, and both were in the States, and both, ironically and surprisingly, are quarterbacks. One at North Dakota, one at New Haven. Both guys, ironically, are the two strongest arms I've ever been around live. Could had the biggest cannons I've ever seen in my life, but also like two of the worst, like mentally, I don't know what word to say. Not the best when it came to the playbook. We'll just put it that way, and remembering things. And I remember one of them, the North Dakota one, a little story of we're in a meeting and I forget what the play was called, but you could see like on film that the guy is looking at the completely wrong side, completely the not right read, who he's trying to read. And the coach pauses it and like, hey man, so, take me through. What are you looking at here? And he's like, he had all the answers. He's like, well, I know it looks like my head's looking like I'm over there, but I was really just looking them off, and I was looking out the side of my eyes over on this side. And like, he knew how to bullshit, but I remember in the meeting, me and the other senior quarterback looked at each other like, you're so full of shit, bro. And same kind of thing at New Haven. Quarterback that we could, you could ask him about a play, for example, like a four verts play or something. And it's okay, take me through the reads. Take me through the reads. And he'd nail it. He'd get it right. And then 2, 4, 5 plays later, we'd run the same thing and he'd fuck it up. And coach would be like, all right, take me through the reads. And it was like it was a brand new question on the test. And he'd get it wrong. And I'd be like, dude, just literally say what you said the answer before. Like it's it's the same question, So Henny, that probably answers those questions for you. In Europe, I mean, there's been some maybe not super high IQ, football IQ guys, but at the same time, it's slightly more understandable just due to, guys not playing as long and it not being part of the culture and all of that stuff. But if I have to think of the two dumbest, it's some guys from back in the States. So appreciate you, Henny, for that call. And even though you're trying to get me in trouble for sure. We got one other call this week from my guy Martin here in Czech Republic, who is the protege of Czech Republic, in my opinion. 13-year-old QB that I was coaching, or 14. Sorry if I messed that up, Martin. QB I was coaching this year. That's got a cannon. Probably one of the most coachable dudes I've ever been around. And for a guy not being American born, can sling it like he is. And so he's got a question for me. Let's hear it.
Hi Joey, here's Martin. How are you? Today is your call day, so can I ask? I want to choose my first helmet, so what was your first helmet? Could you recommend any types or any brands for beginners? Thank you for your podcasts, and good luck.
My man, Martin, thank you for that call, brother. Good English. I can tell you were a little nervous talking in English. You're putting yourself out there to the world. That's what's up, bro. Thank you for the call. Man, my first helmet, shoot. I know it was a shut with, man, you go back in the day, you can't even get these helmets anymore, Martin. And looking back, it's a good thing because they were just concussions waiting to happen. I mean, knowing what I know now and those NFL guys playing in the 90s with those helmets, there's no wonder there's so much CTE because those things weren't doing shit. So it was just a shut, and it was one of those, I mean, you can still do it, but it had this little like blow up, I don't know how to, inflatable thing on the inside that kind of like grabbed your head, and then it was just all hard plastic in there. And so, I mean, you'd take a shot to the head and like you were feeling it. I mean, you still feel it in these helmets today. But, so yeah, that was my first helmet. And I remember like basically the same, I used the same helmet from 9 years old, or the same style, 9 until 18. Like the technology when I was playing in the beginning, like it didn't improve very much. It wasn't until like it got in the media that they started to worry about like helmets and maybe we could do this and make it better and whatever. And so in high school, I had the same exact helmet pretty much. And the reason my nose is so sexy and big is I fucking broke it in the first game of the year of my senior year. I was running the ball. I got tackled on some hard AstroTurf, and like I had the ball and I like just hit the turf with my face. I couldn't support myself at all. And so my face mask pushed back, which pushed the forehead piece down and just broke it like that. And I heard it and my eyes were watering, and went back, and it was my first start of high school. So I was like kind of crying, you know, from like you break your nose, you get hit in the nose, you like automatically cry. I'm like, okay, I can't let these guys see that I'm crying. No, I'm not crying. I'm good. And after the game, I remember I told the trainer, I was like, hey, I think I broke my nose in the game. And they were just like, no, you didn't. I was like, oh, okay. And then it grew into this monstrosity, which some girls find it sexy now. So you feel me? So yeah, those are the questions for the week. Appreciate you guys big time for calling in. You know, these questions really like make my day at times when I get them. So please, like I said, you got something on your mind, anything you want to know, whether it be sports, whether it be whatever, holler at me, bro. Send a voice message, text message to, or I'd prefer voice or audio, and send it to Living for a Living on Instagram, or my WhatsApp is +1 425 443 6928. And so I'll throw it on here, you know. So thank you to y'all. Appreciate it big time. And so now let's get into something. Now I got those. Take a little sip of my water. So, next thing on the agenda, man, which I don't mean the elite agenda to take over the world. I don't mean New World Order when I say the agenda. I'm talking about my agenda here. But on that same note, I hate to say it, you guys, but I'm pretty convinced that whatever we knew life as normal is pretty much fucking over. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. And, maybe something good will come out of that. Maybe we can evolve to something better than whatever new normal was or old normal was. This new normal we're in now, to me, fucking sucks. I'm sick of it. But I don't see things going back at all how they ever were. This virus has infected the minds as much as it has infected the bodies of people. And along with the media, along with governments, along with everything, that I just don't know. I don't know how we're going to go back. I think if we're having to do lockdowns and all of that stuff for a virus that has a 99.99% survival rate, then we're going to have to do lockdowns every year moving forward. There's always going to be some new thing out. The vaccine, man, Fauci has came out and said 2 days ago that even after the vaccine, social distancing and masks are going to be needed and necessary. So, that sounds like a really shitty vaccine, right? And so I just don't get what how does that make any sense? But nothing makes sense. But even after the vaccine, social distancing and masks are needed. What the fuck are we doing? Getting into some Fauci stuff, this dude's had his job, and I'm alternative, da-da-da-da-da. Bro, Fauci's had his job for over 50 years. And the only way you're in government kind of job like that for 50 years is if you're in the pockets of somebody, man. And I got some good little stats for you too, is Fauci's the health expert and all this stuff. In his 50 years, chronic illnesses have increased in Americans from 12% to 54% of the population. And obviously it ain't all his fault, but he ain't doing much, if you ask me. He's got a lot of bullshit. I think he's in bed with a lot of the pharma companies. I was watching, you guys need to all check out Theo Vaughn. I know I always talk about him, but he just did a podcast with Robert Kennedy Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nephew of JFK. And RFK Jr. is involved in, he's not an anti-vaxxer. He's a safe vaccine proponent. I don't know if that's the right word. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. grew up in the White House. This dude's seen some shit. He knows all the backstory from his uncle's assassination. And he's speaking out on all this stuff, speaking out on Monsanto, speaking out on the vaccines, on Fauci, on the government, on everything. So he knows what could possibly happen, And so he talks with Theo, very straightforward, and he spent a lot of his life researching all of this stuff that, I'm going to say a couple things here, but I would highly recommend watching that one. But into the pharma, like I was just talking about Fauci and pharma, just so you're clear, Big Pharma gives twice the amount of money to lobbyists as oil and gas does. Also, there's more pharma lobbyists on Capitol Hill than congressmen, senators, and Supreme Court justices combined. We're the most pharmaceutically infested country in the world. We're supposed to be the greatest with all of these technologies and da-da-da-da-da, yet we rely on that the most. RFK goes on to say, basically like, and he says, research all this stuff. I know I'm going to get flack for saying this right here, but the science proves that, if you get the flu shot, you're much more likely to end up getting COVID or an upper respiratory illness. And he, like I said, go check that out. That's the best like hour 30 you can spend and get some ideas about what's really going on, from what I view as a pretty damn credible source given his background. So check that out. Also, there's another awesome podcast interview. Tim Dillon's my second favorite guy, and he interviews Whitney Webb, who is an independent journalist who is an American who lives outside of the States. Independent journalist is like a rare thing these days, doesn't exist. And they go in and talk about kind of what the future may have with smart cities, and where you literally would own nothing in a city and you just kind of like rent everything. I don't fully understand it. But then they're also talking about like people that are transhumanists, that are essentially like want to think the next step for human evolution is to combine with technology. So like we become semi-robots in a way, which the robots are already here. You see them every day, especially on Facebook, especially on Twitter. A lot of robots out there. But like the transhumanist agenda or movement or whatever, like sounds literally like the 1984 plot in a way, because that technology would be expensive, and so it wouldn't be just like readily available to everybody, but it would only be available to maybe the top 15% or something. And so if you guys haven't read 1984, the premise is like there's only 3 countries left in the world. They're all constantly at war with each other to keep people just distracted, basically. The top 15% is a part of the party, with the top 1% is like the ruling class or like the upper party. The top 1% lives in like luxury, but the other 15% lives in like shit. But they're led to believe that it's like good, because then there's also the last 85%, which they call the proles, that are like the way I would imagine it when I was reading it, and maybe this is wrong, but I kind of imagined the proles as like gypsies in Europe, where like kind of just like on their own, doing their own thing, and like not like a concern to the government. And so that top 15% is like, they view themselves as in a good position in life because they're not the proles, but in reality their life is really shitty because it's completely in a totalitarianism state. And so like the talk, when you listen to this Whitney Webb interview with Tim Dillon, like, it sounds weird, man. It sounds like that, and so I don't know. I think that's something we got to check. You guys should check out if you're into kind of just getting a little better understanding of what's happening right now, and want some outside, non-CNN, non-Fox News opinions. So yeah, I highly recommend that stuff. Out to those 2 things are this last week. You could watch them in a total of like 2 hours. It'll be well worth your time. Well worth your time. Staying kind of on the subject of just the world being a little crazy right now, and kind of talking about robots on social media, and I mean like true actually robots, like that aren't real people that type the same messages, copy and paste it amongst multiple different profiles. But I also am talking about robots that are real people that have just been so brainwashed and programmed by mass media that they like respond to everything with a programmed response. You know, like people don't think like these people, and it's slowly infecting a lot of people. Like I said, like there's just not a lot of thinking going on, man. At least that's how I feel. Obviously, I'm just saying my feelings. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's a lot of thought. It just feels like a lot of people are regurgitating information and just saying something that they read or, you know, one article, one whatever, and then just like, that's my truth. And like, I guess it's okay to do that. But the problem is then it like creates this like arrogance in a way that I'm very well informed and I know, and you're wrong and I'm right. And like, that's not healthy at all. And it's on both sides. You guys know me. I think that the left wing and the right wing are both part of the same stupid fucking bird. So don't get me started on that kind of stuff. I'm outsider. I'm not part of either fucking stupid side. But because both sides are just completely like contradicting and illogical and hypocritical, you know, like what is it like right now? I saw they're trying to cancel Baby Yoda. I just saw this today because in one of the episodes of whatever, I don't watch the Star Wars thing. I'm just not a Star Wars guy, but I guess in one of the episodes of the new thing on Netflix, Baby Yoda, they're like transporting this frog lady to her husband or something, and she has these eggs that need to be fertilized, and Baby Yoda like constantly throughout the episode will like sneak an egg and eat it. And so they're getting like feminist, like I don't even know. I can't. But people are mad at him for the creator of Star Wars and Baby Yoda. He's not even a fucking human being. We're canceling cartoon characters because he's sneaking and eating these eggs. That is the patriarchy, and like, what are we doing? Like, it's terrible. And then same on the other side, you know, I've seen some pictures of like Republicans, Trump people that are protesting the election results by going and kneeling in different government buildings or something. Yet those same motherfuckers were probably super pissed at all the NFL, all the NBA guys for taking a knee, for protesting, because that's not the right way. Yet those dumb motherfuckers are protesting for the election, which I've already said it. I'll be a little, everybody's celebrating. I don't know why. I have a feeling Trump's going to win. And I'll be honest, I don't really give a fuck either way. I think no matter what happens, the U.S. is on coasting downhill. You know, it's just whether we go there pedaling or we go there coasting. You know, and so I just have a feeling that, and I don't know why. It's just a feeling. I haven't done all the fraud research and stuff. Like, I'm not going to waste my time doing all of that. But I'm just putting it out there now. I got a feeling in about a month or two, a lot of people, half the country is going to be super pissed in the U.S. And when that happens, the left has already proven that their go-to method of disapproval is rioting and burning and looting and all that shit. And so, I don't know, some cities are going to be in trouble, I think. I don't want that to happen. I'm not hoping that happens, but that's just, if I was going to write the script or my prediction, that's how I see it going right now, unfortunately. So I hope that doesn't happen, but just the way we're headed, I have a feeling that's where we're going. You know, it's the other thing was like, I forget, Like at this point too, like both sides say the exact same shit about each other as like insults. You know, the left calls Trump a totalitarianism person, authoritative ruler, which like if you do any fucking history learning, like it's not true. And then the right will say that, you know, Biden is going to turn us into socialist, which to me, socialism and totalitarianism are again like just different wings of the same bird. You know, it's kind of the same thing. It's just how the leader is viewed differently. And so like the right thinks Biden's going to become the socialist leader or whatever, and the left thinks that the Trump's going to become an authoritative figure. They're the same fucking thing. It's just how you view it. So, you know, that's just like one example of people literally saying the exact same thing, but for the flip side. And it's just, we've gotten to this point that, I mean, logic and fact is kind of irrelevant or not readily available. And so, oh, the other thing is, I just read today, California is banning kids from reading To Kill a Mockingbird in schools because of the racist undertones to it. I mean, like, it's just a slippery slope we're going on. Like, obviously, majority of people don't support racism, don't support bigotry, don't support sexism, don't support all of these things. But if we're going to cancel Baby Yoda and To Kill a Mockingbird, like, what's next? You know, like what becomes the measuring stick of what's allowed and what's not? Like, do we really have fucking free speech then? The answer is no. We're being censored like a motherfucker. You know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those things. The censoring is real. YouTube took off my episode 19 when I talk about wearing masks, and the title is called The Great Masquerade. And I don't go into stats. I don't tell anybody not to wear a mask. I just joke around saying like I'm wearing it under my nose. I forget. It's all like serious comedy. And YouTube pulled it. Not even demonetized it. It's pulled. Little old me with 150 fucking views. You know, they're pulling off Ben Shapiro, Joe Rogan. They're pulling those guys off, but I mean, those guys reach millions of people. Tim Pool. If it's getting to your boy at 150 views per pod, that they're taking me off, that means some people are working really hard in YouTube. And just imagine that. There's somebody in YouTube that is literally having to watch every fucking thing on YouTube and then deeming it censored worthy or not. I mean, that's insane. Absolutely insane. You know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is like banned from Instagram right now for talking about, like, again, talking about vaccines, talking about coronavirus, talking about all these things that what he's saying is all scientifically and factually based, is that's like his work, life work. But it goes against the status quo and what the higher uppers are pushing. And so, yeah, Robert F. Kennedy's Instagram is frozen or whatever right now. So I don't know. It's just a slippery slope I feel like we're on. But yeah. What a time to be alive, huh? But let's see. What else I got here? What else I got in the notes? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, damn. I fucking missed this part in my rant about pharma and my rant about Fauci. Even the WHO official, the World Health Organization official, has been urging countries to not go into lockdown as the primary way of dealing with coronavirus. Yet, someone's going to tweet, listen to the experts. We need to listen to the experts, everybody. But only the experts that are saying exactly what I'm saying. I mean, World Health Organization. I mean, I don't believe a shit. I don't believe anything they say. I don't believe CDC. I don't believe any of these motherfuckers. But to the robots out there that want to always claim, let's listen to the experts. The World Health Organization official is saying that we shouldn't lock down. Yet, right now here in Czech Republic, we've been locked down for a month, more or less. The U.S. is right on our tails. You know, Europe's been about 2 to 4 weeks ahead of everything in terms of getting cases and locking down and all of those things. And so I've heard back in Seattle, back in Florida, a couple people I'm talking, restaurants are closing again. It's only takeaway. You know, I don't know how long they've said it's going to be in the States, but just for everybody to know, it's going to be longer than whatever they say. I hope we understand that. You know, here in Czech Republic, they said, season was suspended for 2 weeks, and then restaurants got canceled for 2 weeks, and then you end those 2 weeks, and they say, well, 2 more weeks, and then we'll see how it goes. And so we're right at that point right now, and, you know, out here, at least in Czech Republic, it's not as bad, I don't think, because the state supports people. You know, I was kicking it with my homie who's a bartender at the bar that I always go to. And we're chilling, and I was like, bro, like, he doesn't think he's going to be working until, he said if he's working by January, he's going to be happy. And I was like, dude, but, like, are you hurting for money? Like, do you need, like, what's up? You know, like, are you going to be able to survive until then? He goes, oh, yeah. It's like, I get 100% of my salary from the government, like unemployment or whatever, you know, essentially that. And I was like, oh, damn. Thinking, well, in the U.S., we got a $1,200 stimulus check. One-timer. And I didn't even get that motherfucker yet. I mean, I paid taxes in 2018 when I was coaching at New Haven. But I was delivering some pizza 2019, a little under the table. But I still should have got it. And so, man, fuck Trump. I make a clip out of this, put it on TikTok. It'll blow up if I say that. Fuck Trump. I ain't got my stimulus check yet. Ooh, I'm for sure going to do that. I'm having fun on TikTok right now, to be honest, because I have more followers and somewhat more engagement on TikTok in 3 months of being on there than I do on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And I've had those for like 10 years. So here's a little shameless plug. Check out the TikTok. What's weird is it's all people I don't know. You know, for the majority, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, for the most part, majority, I know the person. TikTok, majority, 99%, I don't know. And so that's kind of cool. So, yeah, man. I get a little sports commentary. Harden got offered $50 million a year, and he's turning it down. And everyone's saying, how could he do that? How could he turn down $50 million? Obviously, he doesn't like being in Houston, bro. Like, what? How is that? That's logic. If you're turning down the biggest contract ever, you don't want to be in that place. You'd rather be somewhere else. And, I mean, $50 million a year, although in Houston, too, there's not as much taxes out there. He goes up to Brooklyn, New York. He's going to be paying 58% tax under Biden's new deal. So that $50 million a year goes to 23 million a year real quick. But he won't even get that 50 in Brooklyn. But, I mean, at a certain point, like, I don't know what his last contract was. It was probably about max, 30 million a year, whatever. Like, at one point, I feel like, what do you need more? I mean, obviously, yeah, always take more money. I remember Aaron Brooks, we were talking about that. Like, no, always take the money. Think about your family. But at a certain point, like if you already have, I don't know, 300 mil in the bank, and I'm totally speculating because I definitely don't have that. But if you already got 300 mil in the bank and you're going to go from making 45 mil a year, I don't know what Brooklyn can offer them. Let's just say 40, 45 a year to 50. Like in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's still $5-10 million. That's a lot of money. But if you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there. And obviously Harden does not want to be in Houston, which with Russ, maybe I don't blame him. I don't know. I like Russ. I like watching him, but Harden wants the ball. But I don't know how Harden would even work in Brooklyn with Durant and Kyrie. You know, Durant, I was talking with my boy Nick today on Twitter. You know, Durant can play in any system. He's kind of he's just a ball player. But both Kyrie and Harden are both ball dominant guards. Unless they're going to implement a new rule next year that you can play with 2 basketballs at once, I just don't see that working. You know, I think if you're going with strictly scores, you stay with 2. But then if you're going to go like big 3, they all have to, their games have to complement each other. And they all have to have a slightly different little niche. You know, think back to like the successful big 3s that have all won. And you go Celtics with KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen. Like literally all 3 of those guys' games completely different. You look at Bosh, Wade, and LeBron. You could argue that LeBron and D Wade's game are similar, but at the same time, like LeBron is like in his prime the best player in the world right then. So, and LeBron can shoot threes a little bit, Wade too, but again, they all complement each other. And then last big 3 of LeBron, Kyrie, and Love, again, all different skill sets. It kind of, I think you got to have a big man, a point, and then a 2 or a 3 if you're gonna go big 3. I mean, I guess the Celtics went Ray was like a 2, Pierce is a 3, KG's a 4, but then they had Rondo to dish it and K Perk to like. I think that's how you got to do it if you're going big 3 max salaries. At least that's how I do it in 2K, you know, and I'm the fucking GOAT GM in 2K. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? Yeah. All right, I think that's good for today. All right. So shout out to everybody on the Instagram Live, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff. I hope maybe this was kind of fun. I had fun with it. Subscribe, follow, all of that stuff, please. It really helps me out. And yeah. Today was a fun day. Today was a lot of fun. Super grateful for today. I'll admit I've been missing a little bit of gratitude in my life lately. Or I've been saying it. I'll admit this. You know, I've been saying I'm grateful, but I don't know if I've been feeling it. And I was talking to my boy a couple nights ago, and he was echoing the same kind of ideas. And he was like, bro, you gotta, like, you can't just say it. Like, you gotta really feel gratitude. You gotta feel that shit for it to have the effect of reciprocating and attracting other things to you. And so I've kind of kept that on my mind lately, where like truly, truly, truly being grateful. And I know it's hard right now because, man, it feels at times like there's not a lot to be grateful for due to the circumstances. But if you're watching this right now, and not to be that guy, but like your life is better than like 80% of the world, probably 90% of the world. Because you're inside right now. You might have just ate. You have a phone or a computer that you're watching it on. You know, there is shit to be grateful for. And I'm talking to myself right now just as much as I'm talking to you. Because I I've definitely struggled this last month. Like I said, with the gratitude. Yeah. So to everybody that called in, Martin and Henny, I am truly, truly, truly grateful for you guys, and all the questions and all the people checking in on me. You know, everybody watching in the live right now. Had a couple little interview kind of things before we started this, and that was cool to see some faces. I'm going to start experimenting with Zoom and getting some guests on here at times too, just because, you know, I like talking to myself obviously, but I like talking to other people, and I don't know if I'll be back in the States until late 2021. So if I want to talk to some people out there, which I've been wanting to do some guest podcasts with, I got to do it online. And Zoom's technology is pretty solid. So we'll wrap it up and then be on the lookout for that. All right. Until next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for the third time. Appreciate y'all. Peace and much love. Holla.
Tell me, baby.
Yeah.
What's that story? Cause I've been thinking about you lately.
Yeah, come on.
Tell me, darling. What else? You're a star girl. How the fuck do you not know the deal?
What else?
I've been thinking about you lately. And
What
it's
else?
got me going crazy.
What else?
I'm playing for you, baby.
What else?
Listen up. Got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Now listen up.
Listen up.